All right. How's it going, Rocío? How are you feeling?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're waiting for our room to fill.
Okay. Very exciting.
You ready to show us how you make some toys today?
Yeah. A little bit of cute and fun stuff, hopefully, for everyone to enjoy. Still getting used to like everything on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Hello, everybody joining us. We're going to allow a few more minutes for more people to sign in before we begin. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Oh, I see some people I think I recognize.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is cool.
So I guess I met you, Rocío, in Lightbox. Is that correct? Last year.
Yeah, it was so fun. So fun.
That was a great event.
Yeah.
We missed it this year.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully
Okay. It's 12:02, so I'm going to start the introduction. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be talking with Rocío Cintrón about toy design. She is an amazing toy designer currently working at Disney, and she's going to be presenting today's subject, adding sparkle to a toy design workflow. I'm your host, Elizabeth Garcia, Community Manager for Wacom. We've been making the best digital pen input technology for 35 years. And just a few things to keep in mind during this webinar. It will be about an hour long, maybe a little longer depending on Rocío's stamina. We'll have a Q&A feature in Zoom. Please submit your questions there. The chat moves too quickly and we can't really keep up with questions. So please use the Q&A function to ask Rocío questions. And you can also watch this session later on YouTube because we'll be recording it. Please follow Rocío Cintrón all over social media. She's on Instagram and Twitter. And for those of you watching in North America, we do have some nice discounts and promos for you for Intuos Pro Medium and the Wacom One using the codes you see on screen. We'll be sharing this screen at the end of the webinar as well. Again, this is for North America, and this is for Intuos Pro Medium and Wacom One. All righty, so Rocío, take it away. Tell us all about your workflow.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Okay, give me a second. Hopefully I can pull this up. Let's see lots of things happening on screen. There we go. Okay, let me go ahead and see if I can, let's see, share screen. Here we go, yes, share. Okay, and let's see, let me pull up presentation. Okay, where are we going? Where is it? Sorry about that there. I'm looking for there we go. Could not find it. Oh, there we go, beautiful, okay. So hi everyone, thank you so much for joining. My name is Rocío Cintrón. I'm so thankful for this opportunity from Wacom. They're an amazing company and really I've used Wacom products all my career. I'm super excited by all the things that they're doing online now to keep us super creative at home. So again, I've seen so many great artists that they've been highlighting, and I'm like so humbled and grateful to be a part of it and share toy design with you. And so hopefully I can share some of like my cute and fun and some inspiring things with you today. So yeah, again, I work for Disney. I'm a design manager. I work on Disney Junior toys and Tween. So, okay, let's see.
Thank you, Rocío.
Yeah.
So guys, as you know, Disney has very strict rules. So there are a few questions that you may have that we may not be able to answer. So if you ask very specific questions about Rocío's current work, we may not be able to answer those questions. Just as a disclaimer, guys, we want to protect Disney's intellectual property, but also talk about all the workflow that goes behind this toy making process.
Yes.
Take it away, Rocío. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. So yeah, so I'll start first with my personal artwork. I really love like celebrating talented women. These are all done traditionally in gouache, but I usually start everything digitally. I'll do rough sketches and color studies on the computer and in Photoshop. And, you know, like if I mess something up, I can always fix it later on the computer. So I try not to worry about it that much. And even when I started out, because sometimes painting is pretty hard, I used to do the characters separate and then the painting on the background separate and then put them together on the computer. But yeah, so those are pretty helpful ways and you can build up to doing it. Again, I was really lucky to meet Betsy Johnson. I got to give her my painting, which was super, super fun. And then I also met Gwen Stefani, which was like a miracle. And I think like sometimes I feel like I made it up in my head, but I actually gave her that painting as well on stage. So very cool. So you never know where your artwork will take you or who you might meet. You might meet some of your like inspirations. And then I have some artwork that I've been lucky enough to do for Disney. So a lot of the art of Princess. I did art of Jasmine, art of Belle, art of Snow White. And these were all for like Disney Store and D23. And they're so great. They have a lot of products and we got to do like vinylmations, t-shirts, as you can see, calendars. And so I've been lucky to participate in like signings, which is really cool because you get to meet the fans and share your artwork. And then also we've had a lot of different exhibitions and galleries. We do a lot of like vinyl toy projects. And so that the Star Wars one is that one in the corner, but all really fun and like super creative and inspiring things in addition to the work that we do. So yeah, and I love princesses. I've always loved Disney and princesses and The Little Mermaid especially. So yeah. And then in addition, I like to try to celebrate my culture. So I do a lot of, I try to do a lot of Latino inspired artwork. I've painted Frida, I've painted Selena, and then also I was so excited when we had the first Latina Disney princess, so Elena of Avalar. So yeah, I think I try as much as possible to like really celebrate our culture. It's very colorful and we definitely should be very proud and represent as much as we possibly can. And then next, I think toy designers are kind of a little unknown. So I really wanted to take the opportunity to highlight some really inspiring designers that I know that are Black and Latino. They work at Disney, they work at Nickelodeon, Hasbro, Mattel. For example, like Natalie and Carlos, they've worked on Monster High. Javier and Angel, they work on Barbie. But they're all incredibly talented artists and they also have Instagrams that I think they'll be sharing the links so you can check out their artwork. Yeah, I'm super, super inspired by them as well. And then additionally, Black and Latino toy design leadership. So there's Ed Duncan that is at Mattel. Freddie Tutiveni, who's at Nickelodeon, and he was also a teacher of mine in school. And then Lily Martinez, who I think worked almost like 20 years at Barbie. So yeah, all very, very inspiring. And then especially Dom, Rox, and Marty, who work with me at Disney. So it's always very inspiring to see this kind of leadership in an industry that you really, really love. So yeah, so hopefully you can check them out and kind of see a little bit more information in their artwork and some of the cool toys that they've made. But I definitely recommend.
Thank you for sharing that, guys. We have included all of their Instagram handles in our chat, so that if you're interested, please follow this amazing pool of talent. And thank you, Rocío, for bringing, for using your platform to bring light to all this amazing talent.
Yes, of course, of course. It's very, very honored to do so. Oop, going the wrong way there. Okay, so a little bit about me. I was born in Washington, D.C. My father is Puerto Rican and my mom is from Panama. And I had the most supportive parents. I don't think any of this is possible without them. They always encouraged me like a million times and more. So I don't know, when they watch this, hola mami, hola papi, so they get to see. But I am from a very small town. But I always loved toys. I always loved Disney. I always loved artwork and doing art. Disney was like a dream. And then also like, I always loved toys. Like I think I was older and I mean, I was probably like middle school and high school and I would still go through the toy aisle and look at all the cool toys coming out and stuff. And I went to a state college and I kind of just really wanted to do like maybe the illustration or on the packaging of toys. And I didn't know how to even start or begin or where to go. But I did find the Fashion Institute of Technology. And there they had illustration, they had fashion design, and they had toy design. So I was so lucky to go. And I am like really grateful to the program. It's made me who I am and the artist that I am. But the program, the toy design program at the Fashion Institute of Technology, like covers every single aspect of the industry. So you can see there's like the studio, you work with kids, you design concepts every week, you collaborate. You can see also they have like a graphics lab. And like when I went, they didn't have Cintiqs or Wacoms, but I guess now they do. So that's super cool. And they have a model shop where you learn to build and make a toy from scratch. And it is an incredible, incredible program. It is really, really hard, very hard. I think we worked every single day and I'm not exaggerating. I don't think we slept, but it was all worth it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend checking it out. And then you can see there's the kind of the school on the outside. That's me in class sewing. And then the bottom is all my classmates with our like final projects. They're all working, they're all toy designers. Sean there in the corner, she works with me at Disney. So it is a very small industry too. People know each other or have gone to school with each other, or, you know, there's a really popular freelancer that everybody knows too. But yeah, and then there you can see in the middle is my project from beginning to end. And then also in the corner over there is the pencils that we use. So that was like a week of pencils. We drew so much. I think we probably drew like 4 hours a day. And honestly, there's no way that you could not be better because you're just literally drawing so much. But yeah, and I think, you know, drawing is really a foundation for everything that you want to do. Like it communicates maybe a design or an idea or a story. So I think it's important, you know? Let's see. And then my concepts. So these were all concepts that I did in school. They're all done in Illustrator. I did them on a Cintiq. And from here, I really learned what I like to design. I learned that I like storytelling. I learned that I liked characters. I liked doing dolls and preschool stuff, so a little bit younger. But yeah, it's very, lots of work, but you know, those designs meant a lot to me in school. So from there, we took some of those concepts, or we took a concept and we actually, hold on, let me grab a sip of water here. We made prototypes. So we made them from beginning to end. We designed them, we sculpted them. And this first one here is a little alien girl in a UFO, and it's a remote control. So when she drives around, it lights up, and then there's glitter inside that swirls around her like the stars. So you got to bring your like concept to life. And then also we did it in, we did plush as well. So we learned to sew from scratch. Sewing is really hard. So I appreciate all the people who can sew. It's another gift as well. But yeah, so these are my toys, and they came out super cute. And then, whatchamacallit, let's see. So the great part about like stories, movies, TVs, and toys, they all really go together, you know? And it's kind of important to understand them all. And, you know, maybe you want to do animation, or maybe you want to do toys, but it's good to kind of understand them, because they really do go all together, and it's like an experience for a child or somebody who enjoys the story. But this was my storybook that we got to illustrate in school. So she looks a little bit like Baby Yoda, but this was 10 years ago, so she's like a little bit like the girly version of Baby Yoda. But basically the story was, Chio is a unique extraterrestrial stuck on an ordinary planet. She loves doodling, cannot stop, and often gets in trouble. Heartbroken, she runs away to discover an extraordinary metropolis full of creative citizens who transform the universe. Creativity can transform the universe. So I really do believe that. And it's basically my story. And how I was inspired by moving to New York. And all of those are my classmates who are designers that I like drew.
I think Rocío froze. Is that just for me?
Oh,
Tom?
sorry. Hello? Is everything okay? Hello? Just hold on, making sure.
Everything's good. Yep. Keep going.
Thank you so
Very
much.
good.
Sorry about that. I thought the screen had froze. But yeah, so this is basically my story. And then we actually, like, we drew all the drawings, we illustrated it. It was a lot of work. So all the people who make books, it's incredible how they do it. It's a lot of work. But I have a copy that we actually made in school. It's like the only copy, but we literally cut and did all these pages. So this is the cover, and then the back, and then you open it. I can show you some pages. Let's see. There we go. Whoop. So that's her on her little small planet, and then how much she loves drawing. And then she actually does a mural. She gets in trouble for it, and gets in trouble for it. And then let's see. There's so many pages I'm trying to find. So this is the one where she meets all of the girls, or the other little alien girls in the city. So yeah, super fun, and like I'm really proud of it. And it's, at the end of the day, it's my story, you know? So yeah, and Chio's my nickname, but it's very cool. I think like anybody who illustrates books, it's a lot of work, but it's an amazing thing to do. So let's see, what else? So from there, with my storybook and my concepts, I got to do a Fisher-Price internship. And so the first toy I got to work on was Dora. And it was like the first toy I designed and came out. And I was so honored to work on that, like as a Latina. And also it was the first time I used a Cintiq. So you know, as a working experience. I think this was like 10 years ago. But I loved it as soon as I used it. Like, I felt like it made me draw better. And then, like, of course you can fix and change anything. So I think it really changed my work once I got to use one and owned one. So yeah. And then this page, okay. I'm gonna try not to cry. So inspiring mentors. So how I got to Disney. Disney was my dream. I really didn't know how I was gonna get there. I just thought like, oh, I'll just work really hard and maybe, you know, I'll get to something close. But I am very thankful to Judy, who was at Fashion Institute of Technology, who helped me. And then also Natasha Burling, who hired me as an intern at Disney. She's an amazing person, insanely talented. She's the vice president of design girls at Mattel now. I would definitely, I think I added a link in there. I hope you look her up. She's amazing. And then also Gabby Zapata, that she is at Disney now, and she is an amazing artist and inspires me to do more of these things. I'm a pretty shy person, but she's really showed me how important it is to represent and to share your story and your artwork. So I try my best to be like her. She's actually younger than me, but you never know who your mentor might be. And like I said, she's amazing. I would definitely, if you don't know of her stuff, I'm sure you do, but yeah, follow her. She's going to do great, great things. And then also, I'm really grateful to Courtney, Roxana, Whitney, and Suyun, who have all supported me at Disney as managers. All very talented ladies as well. As you can see, there's like some products that they've worked on. So Roxana has done Elena of Avalar. Courtney does gorgeous stuff at Disney Store. Whitney has lately done Hair Doorables and worked at Nickelodeon and does so much. And she was featured on Wacom as well, insanely talented. And then also Sion, my current manager, who's made really incredible Doc McStuff and toys that are super fun and super inspiring. So yeah, and I think that's one thing that I really love about the toy industry. There are a lot of talented women in leadership roles. And I think that was the first thing that, like, you know, I've been on teams of all women, and it's been a great, great experience. So yeah, so thank you to all of these ladies. I hope they see this. But yeah, so definitely look up more about them. So next, so about actually making toys. So it's really, really important to realize it's a collaboration with many, many talented people. I think of it, it's almost like making a movie. There's so many people who work on it to make it happen. So yes, there are designers, but there's also marketing and business people and engineers and packaging and many, many more. Like there's a lot. So this is a photo of Just Play. This was at one of our brainstorms, but all really, really talented people who make these things happen. So yeah. And then toy companies. So some of the ones that maybe you definitely probably know of, or maybe some other ones, but Hasbro, Mattel, Lego, Jax, Just Play, MGA, Spin Master, Funko with all those collectibles, and then Fisher Price. Who else is over there? Playmates, Bandai, VTech, Moose Toys, Jazzware, and Skyrocket. So there are a lot of companies. There's probably even more smaller ones or companies that specialize in things that I haven't even listed, but there are a lot out there. So yeah. And then, let's see. Okay, so toys are a little bit like, it's like different design disciplines. First and foremost, we want to make fun and toys that kids really love and enjoy and can play with. And then also, you know, each kind of generation of kids or or every few years or so, kids change so much. There's so much more technology, or there's so much more advanced. And I mean, you think about kids now, and they like are whizzes with laptops and iPads and stuff. So all of those things you have to take in consideration, but also the actual design of them. It's kind of like industrial design. It's a little bit of like mini architecture, mini interior design, fashion design, vehicles, like graphics, a lot of variety. And then the different categories for toys are like infant and toddler, arts and crafts, construction, collectibles, dolls, dress up, games, electronics. You can see a long list of different types of toys. But I picked some of the most popular ones right now. Obviously Frozen, Baby Yoda, so cute. LOL Surprise, which really is a cute and fun toy and doll, but has like this extra layer of unboxing and really goes along with how much kids love YouTube now. So yeah, a lot of cool toys out there always. And then if you want to know more kind of about the history of the toy industry, I definitely recommend checking out the Netflix The Toys That Made Us. They really go into like all the detail, and I think it's very like helpful to understand. And like they highlight My Little Pony and Barbie and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and those toys have been around a long time. So that's pretty crazy that they keep going, and kids still love them. So yeah, definitely would check them out. Okay, so the actual kind of how you start and how it kind of happens. So first it starts with the inspiration kind of process. So there's a lot of research and trends done that we look at, and kind of what's going on and what kids are really enjoying. And sometimes we try to predict what they'll really want or what they'll really like as well. And there's a lot of, as a designer, there's a lot of like looking on Pinterest to get inspired and finding things. And then kind of from there, we take all of that and we make mood boards that kind of like show and explain where we kind of want to go with something. And then from there, we start to brainstorm and kind of ideate and like flush out what we would like it to be. And then lastly, we look at things as like color palettes, like things that we think would work, or new materials and exciting ways to do them. Another thing is like for color, we have my Pantone book. Most designers like have Pantone books like crazy, because it really is, you can tell like a story with all the colors and stuff. So yeah, definitely Pantone books, learning a lot about them and knowing all your colors and how to use them helps. So let's see. So next, the actual like process of making it. So I use an example from school because it's a little bit more simple to understand. But so you start with that concept, that drawing, and then you will take that and you will make control art. So you'll do all the turns, like front, side, back, and have all the measurements about what size you think it will be. You'll have the call outs for the colors, and you'll take all of that information, and a sculptor may work on it and kind of bring it to life. Most of the sculpting now is done digitally. And then from there, there's usually like kind of mock-ups made or 3D printouts that are put together and then painted, and kind of will be closer to what the final toy will look like. It will go through engineering and kind of making it easier for production and how to actually manufacture it. And then hopefully by the end, you have a toy. And then, so that's one toy. So then to kind of understand the toy production cycle, because obviously there's a lot of toys that are made, you first start with direction. So that could be a TV or a movie. And like the important part to understand is usually a TV and movie and the toy are being made at the same time. So you're making a toy before the movie or the TV show is even finished. So I think that's why sometimes if you see things that are a little bit off, a toy is usually already done so much prior to the actual finished movie, because the goal is when the movie comes out, hopefully the toys are available. And so it's at the same time. So it has to be that way. But from there, once you have your direction, a little bit more on the business sides, there's slots and rationale where they kind of plan exactly like how many toys at what price, what's the best to offer and market. So you'll take that information and you'll brainstorm, and then you'll kind of really flesh out the toys that should be made. And then from there, there's a concept made, and that's just a drawing, and everybody sees the drawing and kind of approves like, okay, this is what we want the toy to be. And then from there, it'll move on to actually making the models like I showed. Everyone will see that again, and we'll agree that it's like going in the right direction, or we'll adjust it and tweak it as needed. And then hopefully finally we have something that's very close to what the toy will be like for production. And everyone will see that last one and all agree. And then finally it goes through manufacturing and production. And then hopefully it goes to the store, and hopefully it goes to little kids to have fun and play with. So it is a long process. Like I said, at the top, it's 15 to 18 month cycles. Sometimes it's a little bit shorter or faster or a little bit longer, but it is always usually a year ahead, and around 2 seasons, so fall and spring. To make all of this happen, I think in addition to design skills, designers need to be able to present, right? They need to have great communication to make all of this happen and work with everybody. Collaboration. Another huge one is problem solving, right? Because there's a lot of things that will come up and you have to find solutions for them. And then also a good understanding of business and marketing. So I think it's a lot of things that go together. It's not just, I'm going to make this one thing, it's a huge collaborative process. But yeah, very, very, very rewarding to start and then get to the end, have a toy and have a kid play with it. Like it's a journey. So yeah. So I have here a good example of a design sheet from the designer at Mattel, Kristen. She worked on Jurassic World, but you can see here she has her drawing. She has her colors called out. She has her views. She has call outs for all of the materials, exactly what the eye should look like, the colors for the eye, how it should work, any information that's needed to kind of figure out how it works. And so all of this information on a design sheet helps it start to be made and then to figure out how to make it for production. So that's what a design sheet would look like if you're working. So yeah, very, very cool. Okay, and then also toy specialties. So sometimes it's finding what you like best. There are people who are very specialized in sculpting or maybe fashion, or even people who just do face painting or painting the samples. People who are really talented in plush, and so they love to just design plush. Graphics as well, all the graphics that go into toys are used as labels or on the fashions or outfits. There's also character art, packaging, engineering, and safety. So there's a lot of aspects, and you can be very specialized. You could also, if there are projects that you want to do on your own, there are a lot of designers who do projects on their own and they make them and they sell them on Etsy. Or you can start by freelancing to kind of figure out oh, maybe I really like doing the graphics, or maybe I really like fashion stuff. So I definitely suggest, internships, freelancing, maybe doing it on your own. There's so much information out there now too. So if there's something that you really feel passionate about, you can definitely do as well. But yeah, And then I think we're going to share these links as well, so you can look up some of their great work. So next, I'm very, very thankful. I work at Disney Consumer Products. I'm grateful to be working right now. And we review and approve toys there. You can see that's the campus. It's really pretty. I think we all miss it very much. And then also on the bottom is my office that is usually filled with tons and tons of toys. I keep them all there, so I don't have any here really with me. But yeah, and then also on the top there are all the designers I work with. So we're definitely, we are all learning to work from home and working together, and we're making the best of it. But it definitely, we do miss being together and like having all that inspiration and sharing with each other what we're working on and stuff in person. But yeah, so then also that's so sweet. We always have a lot of kids. Obviously their parents come to the office. They come to the office with their parents, and they test out the toys and they play with them. This is my director's daughter who was playing with the kitchen that I designed. So super, super cute. And then luckily we get to work with so many of the different studios, and we get to visit them and stuff. So that's just a couple of pictures of them. So yeah, always really, really inspiring. Let's see. Okay, so like I said, I'm a design manager. I mostly work on Disney Junior and Tween toys. I've worked on Minnie, Sophia the First, Sheriff Callie, Vampirina, Fancy Nancy, Tots, and Mira's the newest one. That'll be coming out soon, the toys. But we work really closely with all of these shows to design the toys and make sure that they are bringing to life that show. And yeah, I love all these characters very much. But you can see what we've worked on so many different types of toys. So like that large kitchen, dolls, play sets, figures, role play, costumes. Yeah, there's always a ton to work on, and a lot of variety, which is great for a designer. So then, so like I said, all of these girls, all of these characters, all of these dolls that I got to be a part of, that I'm so thankful. I'm super proud that they're all really, really diverse. You know, Mira being the newest, that really celebrates like Indian culture and is a super, super fun show. But doll making, it looks like it's easy, but it's really, really hard, which I think maybe people might not realize. So you're working on the face and the body and the sculpt and the hair and the fashion, and all of these things are separate and they have to come together, and hopefully it works and it looks like the character. And so yeah, it's definitely a process, and a lot harder than you would think. But yeah, these are some of my favorites, and I'm very proud of how they look. And then also playsets and vehicles. Playsets are really, really hard too. They're like building a little house. These are all from the talented designers at Just Play. They're all so fun. They're all like each a different world, and they have so many features, and they bring to life the show. I think my favorite has to be the first one there, the Sophia the First castle. It's 5 feet. It's huge. It's probably the biggest toy I've worked on. But it has so many features, and an elevator, and like magical moments where the princess pops up, and a swing. And I would have loved that as a kid. Like, I would have loved that so much. So yeah, it's very, very cool to be a part of things like that. Let's see. And then one more. Hold on a sec. I gotta take a sip of water.
Your friend Neville Hidalgo is saying hi. He's so happy to see you.
Hola. I think I worked with him at Disney. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I hope. Yeah. Hi guys. I can't see quite what you're saying, but Thank you for letting me know, Elizabeth. And then a little project that I did a long time ago, I got to design all of these characters, and we just thought it was like, how fun would it be if princesses had pets, since they love animals so much. And it's crazy because the designs eventually turned into a show, and they made books. They even made an app where you could like dress up the animal and brush her hair. And it was just super fun to work on. I think it went a couple of years, and I think everybody really enjoyed working on it. It was such a sweet property, and like, who doesn't love animals? And I think kids really loved it. Like, my favorite part is all the tails were like fluffy. So like, you would always see like the little girls holding them, and they would have all these like fluffy tails. So super cute. And the drawing on the left was mine. I think I did it in Photoshop, and it's just like a style of rendering. So I think that was like a very polished version for a presentation. But usually the things that we work on work, there's always so much going on, so we work a lot faster. But it is nice when you have time like that to really get into it and polish it and make a nice presentation. So lastly, I have the Minnie Mouse fashion dolls, and I have them here with me, and hopefully we'll be giving them away at the end. But these are the fashion dolls that I worked with the talented people at Jax, and they worked so hard to make this happen. And it's been a super fun project. I love Minnie. She's sweet, she's fun, and super fashionable, and an icon. So it was such joy to like help design these. So I can show you. These are, you can see on the left, the first one is like the initial concept drawing, and then the other one is the final, and you can see how many adjustments and tweaks we have to make to get to the final. And it could be, you know, sometimes it's not working, or we need to adjust the colors, or maybe for costing, it's not really possible. So there is a lot of adjusting and finessing that it takes to get to the final product. And here I just have kind of, I'll show you my process. I always do a sketch that's like really loose, and then the color, and then kind of how it looks like by the end. So I think, Elizabeth, I think I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of a demo.
Go for it. Do you always work in Photoshop, Rocio?
Yes, I in school we did a lot of Illustrator, and I think for presentations and maybe pitches or very final things, designers will work in Illustrator to have like a really polished final representation of what the concept should be. But I think for work, a lot of us are working on so many projects and so fast. Photoshop is just the best because it's quicker for us. Let's see if I can share my screen. Okay. Do you see a black screen?
We do.
Okay.
Well, now, no. There it is.
You see Minnie?
We see Minnie, yes.
Okay. How do I, there we go, beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna try to pivot this a little bit and get closer. My thing is I'm always losing my Cintiq pen. Like always designers are just roaming around looking for Cintiq pens because we just put them down everywhere and can't find them. But I found it. Okay, so.
You need to design your own pen holder.
Huh?
You need to design a pen holder. A lot of our artists design.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's maybe what I have to do next. I like that. I might have to put a lot of glitter on it. Okay, so let me just set this up.
So we do have a couple of questions, and I don't know how comfortable you feel, you know, drawing when you talk, but I'm just gonna throw them out there and see. I have a lot of questions regarding the hiring process.
Okay.
Jason Das wants to know, you know, what do hiring managers look for in a toy design portfolio? What should you include in them?
Yes, so concepts, and then also what you would really like to work on. You know, if you're very passionate about maybe vehicles or something like Hot Wheels, put that in there. I think I think what you're really passionate about and what you want to work on. And then sometimes people like a lot to see the kind of the ideation. So like how you got to that concept, what inspired you to make that. I think that's also really helpful too, because it shows your thinking. Let's see.
So not just finished pieces, but concepting.
Yeah, so finished pieces, but then how you got there. So a little bit of like kind of my presentation, how you saw, you know, what inspired me and what I really liked and why I thought, you know, this toy might be fun. I think people are looking for that too. Let's see, why can't I?
Again, guys, Rocío is using Photoshop,
Yeah.
and I believe she's working on a Cintiq Pro. Is that correct?
Yes. And the thing for me, all the designers, we love our Cintiqs. I think because we are working on a lot of projects, we love like the bigger screen because we can move stuff around and work on stuff at the same time and have plenty of space for it.
How big is your screen?
I think mine is the 22. That's the size I like. I don't know. I might go a little bit larger. We don't know. But for me, I think we just always, there's not enough screen space sometimes. Like I have the stuff that I'm looking at, the stuff that I'm working on, and it's super helpful. And I think a lot of designers really, they like the larger Cintiqs because of that, just because of the space. It's just like having a large piece of paper. Like who doesn't want a big piece of paper? So I have here kind of the way I started. So you can see I like to start just on paper and kind of like figuring out things on paper first, because then it doesn't make it so overwhelming. And then you kind of like can work through it more. So I really love working with like the Papermate like felt tip. So I just drew this on a piece of paper, kind of figured out what I wanted it to be, or her pose to be like, and how I wanted the fashion to be shown. So then from there, I'll take that sketch, I'll make it super light, because then that way I have it all kind of figured out how it should look. And then I'll do kind of a rough to like make it a little bit more solid and 3D, and to kind of figure out how it should look. And then from there, I'll take that and then just go over top of it and kind of make it a little bit cleaner and tighter. Another thing to add, like if you have the character already, you should use what the character is like so it looks more on model. So that's why I have the face here already done. I mean, I got very lucky, like we had already, you know, sometimes you're working on stuff that is already out there, like it's already a princess or a Minnie Mouse. So then from there, I'll figure out kind of what the fashion should be. So there you go. There's kind of the same way. And I do the same thing, same process, do it rough and then a little bit cleaner. And then I keep everything on layers. I think as designers, we're trained like keep everything on layers because you might need to adjust it or fix it, or, you know, we might have to swap out a color, who knows. But yeah, so then from there, I'll just do a little bit of color.
And Rocío, is this all like decided for you in that sheet that you showed us earlier, or do you have
You made that sheet. Yeah, you're the one making that sheet.
Okay, so you decide the fashion and the palette and all that.
Yeah, so I'm just doing a drawing of like the one that we've already done. But ideally you would be doing a new design. So you're kind of figuring it out digitally first. And the thing to remember is like, it's less time to figure out something in a drawing than, you know, make something a model that's more expensive down the line. So just figuring it out and really working it out digitally or drawing first is helpful. So I think let's see, what other layers do I have on here? I added the dots. So a way that I do a little bit of, so you can see this is the shape for the skirt. So I usually just, where is it? having a little bit of, there you go. So I usually just select it. And then once I just fill the color in plain, I will just do a little bit of shadows so you can make it look a little bit more realistic. Is it working? No, that's dodged, my bad. Okay. So you can put the shadows in there and you just think like, okay, it would be on this side, so it would be a little bit darker here. And then you can go ahead and add dodge, which would be a little bit more of like your highlights. And I think a good thing to remember is to just do everything slowly, because that way you can build it up. But there you can see, like I already did the color. And what else do I have here? I have a little bit of gold for the bottom of the skirt. And then let's see. The brush that I usually like to use is, I think Whitney actually made this brush, and I just always still love it and use it. So I like a little bit more, I put it 50%. I like a little bit of an angle brush, and I just always go really lightly and build it up. So yeah. And then what else? So also another little trick that I like to do is sometimes outlines are a little bit harsh. So what you can do to like soften it a little bit is I just like lasso the outline, and then I make it a color so it doesn't look so, where is it? So it doesn't look so harsh. So I'll colorize it a little bit lighter, saturation. Oh, maybe it's darker. Here you go. Okay. So that way it like kind of softens it a little bit and it blends in a little bit more. It looks a little bit more natural. And then let's do it for the skirt. There we go. Sometimes because black outlines tend to look a little bit harsh. This isn't my usual setup, so I'm a little like, what is everything? Okay. Saturation. So there it looks a little bit, you know, like it blends in a little bit more. And then my favorite thing to do is like add a lot of sparkle to things. Let's see. So I have sparkle brushes. Let's see how these work.
While you add some sparkle to your design, I'm gonna throw some questions at you.
Sure.
From Elaine Chang.
Oh!
She, you know, you mentioned all these categories of toys. She's wondering what is your favorite toy category to work on and your least favorite?
Ooh, this is a good question. Elaine Chang works with me and she's amazing as well. She's more on the business side, but she is very creative. As far as that question, I think my favorite is dolls because it really brings the character to life and it's very hard. I think my least favorite, let's see, I might have to say vehicles because it's just so hard. Like you have to make sure it balances and, you know, like it works, and there's a lot. And then even if you do like something like a track set, like those Hot Wheels sets, like it's a lot to figure out to make sure that it goes the right way and that it goes through all the loops and that it's the right weight. And yeah, it's a lot harder than it seems. So I would definitely say vehicles is a little bit hard for me, but I do love characters and dolls. But yeah, that's a good question. Let's see.
And Jessica Guerra wants to know, do you have recommendations for someone who wants to switch from graphic design to making concepts for toy design? Do you think that they have to go back to school for a degree?
I think it all depends on you as a person. So I would say school, uh, I think a school or a program will help you get there faster. But you can get there on your own and without school. I know a lot of people who have. Um, I would suggest maybe a class to start with, because that way you can figure out, oh, do I really want to do this? Am I really excited about this? Am I passionate about this? I think that's a good start. And then also, if you just want to do it on your own, research the companies that you like, research what you want to work on, and start there. And, you know, start by making things that like would be a good addition to what is already out there. So if there's this company that you like and you think like, oh, it would be cute if they had this kind of toy that goes along, and you have kind of a style. So make up projects that you want to see as well. So I think that's and maybe, you know, that might not become a real thing, but it gives you the ability to learn and the experience, and then also something to show, which is super, super helpful.
Thank you, Rocio.
Yeah. Okay. Woo. I'm gonna add a little bit of sparkle. So the thing with sparkle is you gotta like not add too much. And I like usually love sparkle so much. So you gotta do it a little light. You can do that, and then you can make it a little brighter, and then move it around. And then let's see. Make it pop a little. How are you not? There you go. So I like to play with the layers. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have Amy here wondering if you prefer being a licensor or working for a manufacturer.
Ooh, that's a good question. So, well, okay. So just to kind of explain, usually entertainment companies are licensors. So they share their TV or movie with licensees, which are toy companies, to make the toys and the products. I think for me, I'm very lucky that I really love Disney and I'm very inspired by it. So I think I found the place that I, at this moment, really, really love. But there are beautiful sides to both. I think on the licensor side, it's a lot more about storytelling, while the manufacturing side is a lot about actually physically manufacturing and making things happen, and those challenges. So they both have their great sides. And then the also plus side of a manufacturing is, you know, people make their own toy lines. So they could make their own stories, or they could make their own content and their own toys. And it's not necessarily tied to an entertainment company. So they both have their really cool things. But yeah, for now, I think I like being more on the licensor side, but who knows, you know, I think it might be super fun to work on the other side as well.
Thank you for explaining that, Rocio.
Yeah, that's a very important part.
Yeah. We have some really interesting questions, but I'm gonna let you do some of your work. But yeah, really interesting questions from the group here. Thank you so much. And we had Whitney Paulette send you some kudos. She's a big fan, and she was watching here. So I just want you to know, support from your fellow designers out there.
Yeah, they're very sweet. So that's another great thing about our industry. It's very close and very talented people and very supportive. So yeah, and we all love toys and kids and making these fun things. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But as you can see, so this would be like kind of the final sketch. And then I added a little bit of sparkle, but you can see from, you know, the rough sketch to like the nice final one for a presentation is what it would look like. And then always remembering, to save because, oh my goodness, if you lose the project, it's always so scary. But yeah, I think that's pretty much for the demo. And
Then let's jump into some questions, if you don't mind.
Sure, of course.
So Mary May Smith is wondering if this is a job that you could work remotely, or you would recommend moving close to a studio outside of the pandemic anyway.
Yes, so yeah, that's very interesting. So actually, I mean, we're all very, very lucky to be working from home, a lot of us, I mean, especially at Disney. And it is very, very possible, and we're doing it. Prior to everything going on, there are places and people who do work from home. There are a lot of people who freelance, who they just like to work on the projects, and they kind of help the companies or, you know, whatnot with the additional work. I think it all just depends on you. I think what everybody is struggling with a little bit is, you know, working from home is hard a little bit because, you know, you're kind of alone and you're working by yourself. So there's some people who freelance and just, you know, they prefer it like that. Or there's other people who really love, you know, the interaction and feed off of that different energy. So I think it all just depends on the person. And I think you can try it out. I've done both. And it's all a good experience and you learn from it. Yeah, I think, does that answer the question a little bit?
I think so.
Okay.
If you have a follow-up, let us know. This was a really interesting question from Irene Peralta. I found it interesting and I want to ask you.
Sure.
When it comes to packaging, toy packaging, is there a way to make it more gender neutral?
So, yeah, it depends. I know that there's a lot being done to make it more sustainable because I think ideally that's where we would like everything to go. And I think there are a lot of, they're trying to do more of that kind of thing. It just all depends, because if you're doing a movie or a TV show, you don't have that flexibility, right? It all depends on that show or movie. There's actually a really great line called Creatables, that is a doll line from Mattel where you basically get to make your own doll, and it comes with all of the different accessories, and you can make it a girl doll or a boy doll, and really kind of explore kind of genders, you know? So I think people are trying. It just takes a while. Like I said, I think, you know, it takes about a year for toys to be developed, and it all depends what's going on and stuff and what kids are really resonating with. But I think they are trying, and hopefully there probably will be more, but it just all depends.
Thank you, Rocío. So Vanessa, Franchi says, I know you mentioned you can find resources online about toy design, but what opportunities did school give you? And would you highly recommend going for a degree in toy design?
Yes. I mean, to me, it was very worth it, and it made me like the designer and artist that I am. But I do want to say, you know, it's very different. I went 10 years ago. So, you know, there weren't YouTube tutorials and social media. So, you know, things have changed a lot as well. But for me, yes, I highly recommend it. Like I said, it showed me every aspect of toy design. And it was a great experience. And all of my classmates are working, and I know them. And, you know, it really is, I don't know, it's like a little kind of like, it's a community, especially if you were in that program. And there are other programs. There's one at Otis as well. But yeah, for me, it was an amazing experience and changed my life. But it all depends on the person and the time, right?
Well, speaking about school, since we're going back to school soon, and our friend JJ Selfman has a question for you. Do you have any advice for toy design students at FIT? I am starting in the fall and I'm excited, but also very nervous. Do you have any advice for him?
Yes. Oh, well, congratulations, because I know that it's really hard to get in. It's very, very hard. It's very competitive. It's a small class, usually like 20 people. I would advise, it's all worth it, and just kind of take it as it comes and make sure to take care of yourself. And you will get through it. It is one of the hardest things that I've ever done, and people would always say that to us in school, and it really is. It's a very hard program to get through, but it is very, very worth it in the end. Just try to take and learn and take everything in. It really is set up to make you succeed. So think of it that way. And then what else? Yeah, it really is worth it. And you will do great things. And then also think of it as like the time that you get to work on anything that you're really passionate about, because once you start in the business, you know, you may work on different projects and stuff, and it's not necessarily you know, you're working on other things, not just a thing that you want to you know, like your story. But in that program, you're working on everything that you want to make. There's no restrictions, right? So I would think of it like that. And you'll do really great. And I wish you all the best. And it's all worth it at the end. And try to take naps.
Yes.
That helps.
We wish him the best as well.
Yeah.
Interesting question here from an anonymous attendee. How do you even learn about what children will love to play with? You create toys, but how do you know that children will love them and actually use them?
For sure. Good question. So I think every designer kind of has that innate thing. I mean, I think some of us are kind of like big kids and we still really love toys. And for me, like, I really loved kids. Like, I wanted to be a teacher. And this was kind of like it kind of brought together all the things that I liked. But in addition to that, you know, we watch closely like what kids really like to play with, what's resonating. And also, you know, everything changes so fast now. So, you know, kids are growing up in a different world and things are always changing. And we kind of have to make toys that reflect that too, and that they need. A lot of times too, what kids gravitate to and what they play with when they're little kind of influence what maybe they want to be when they're older. So like if kids love a lot of construction and Lego, maybe they want to be a designer or an architect when they grow up. So I think we think of all of those things. Obviously, there's a lot of designers who have kids and they're super inspired by their kids as well. And like I said, I think we really do love kids, and we kind of want to make things that they'll really enjoy, that have a lot of play. I think because we have had those toys that we really loved as kids, so we're trying to make the same experience for them.
Right on.
Yeah.
Another really good questions from Mary May Smith. How do you get your work in front of a company to get hired? If you're working from home, are there online submissions? Do you know how?
So yes. So you know, like I said, it's different. It all depends. I mean, I would say something right now that's really powerful is obviously social media. So, you know, you can share a lot of your work online. I would reach out to all of those companies, send them, you know, your work. I think a lot you can do online. You can make a lot of things yourself as well and start there. I mean, I think a designer that I worked with closely, I mentioned, she's a really talented plush designer, Jane, and she would make her own stuffed animals, and she would go to different craft shows and road shows, and she would sell and do her stuff on her own, and that helped her get a job at Disney. Also, just think about it as timing too. Like sometimes, you know, it all depends like what's going on in a company and stuff. So just keep trying. And I think the thing that is really meant for you will eventually happen. But yeah, put yourself out there, put your work out there, send things. And then like, you know, even right now that is a difficult time, you know, just keep working on your things, and hopefully when the opportunity happens, you know, you'll be ready for it. I mean, I tried to think of it like that myself, even in the very beginning, and still do. So yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Thank you so much, Rocío. I'm going to go ahead and ask you one last question before we wrap up, but also, you know, remind the audience watching us through Zoom that our team will pick 2 people at random from our list of viewers right now to ask them their email so we can get their information and ship them some gifts from Rocío.
Yes.
And maybe some gifts from Wacom. We don't know yet. Maybe. Ooh.
Yes.
We'll
Good stuff.
all right. Okay. The last question from Chevron Sherry. I like this question. So, where does Rocío see the future of toy design going?
Oh my goodness. Sometimes I think about that a lot. That's a good question. Like I said, you know, kids are really advanced now. There's a lot of technology. I would like things to be a little bit more diverse, and I think we're trying to get there. But I think I think some of the things that we still have, hopefully they'll still really love. So playing, storytelling, you know, imagination, imaginative play. So I think some of the old things, but who knows? I don't know. Like I thought about this too. I'm like, are there going to be hologram toys? Like, who knows? I mean, so much changes even in 5 years that, or I've been working 10 years, even in the last 5 years, things are so different and there's so much out there. So I don't know, I'm excited. And I'm really excited by kids now and kind of the newer generation and stuff. So I am very positive about what might be. I think it should be good. But yeah, I think, you know, always that play and that fun is important. Like, I think even in times when things are a little bit hard or a little bit sad, like the joy that you have, you know, playing with stuff or a game with your family, I think it's very important, and it's good for the good for the spirit. But yeah, so that's what I would say.
Well, you're certainly very inspiring. A lot of people in our chat found your presentation and your process very, very thoughtful and very thorough. Thank you so much, Rocío, also for using this platform to give, to uplift and shine the light on so many fellow Latinos and Black talent out there. I think it's great that you guys support each other. I can definitely feel how tight and loving the toy designer community is just by judging, you know, just by hanging out with you for an hour here on the chat.
Yeah, I mean, they've all been really, really supportive. So thank you to all of them. Thank you to you guys as well. I like super inspired by all the things that you're doing and keeping us creative at home, which is a good thing.
Yeah, well, before we go, guys, before we wrap up, I want to announce Leona Black and Elise Hanslow, who are watching on Zoom. They will be receiving gifts from Rocío and Wacom.
Oh, congrats.
Yes, so we'll be in touch soon. We have your emails, I think. And guys, again, please follow Rocío Cintrón everywhere. She's incredibly inspiring, positive, and just an overall sweet, sweet individual. And thank you so much, Rocío. Maybe we'll do a webinar in Spanish next time.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Elizabeth. Who knows? A lo mejor, vamos a ver. Gracias. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching. We'll see you on Thursday for another webinar with Wacom. This was Rocío Cintrón, Disney designer, toy designer. Go follow her.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. We're going to also remind you of our offers. Tom or Peter, can you please cue that stuff so that we can remind our viewers how to take advantage in North America of our amazing promos and work on a Wacom One or Intuos Pro. Thank you, everybody, for watching.